Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, one thing we can say for sure that Donald Trump has done since taking office as president is he's ended global warming, because it's not warm in a lot of places. Cold here today, but man, it's about to turn really cold. And it's not just us. A lot of places are going to experience abnormally cold weather. High winds, lots of snow. Today up in Canada, I don't know if you saw this, a plane was landing at an airport, and as it was coming down to land, I guess a big old gust of wind hit it, and the thing flipped up and landed upside down. All the passengers survived. I'm sure there's some injuries. I can't imagine what kind of ride that would be, being in a plane and then the thing flipping upside down if you're buckled in and you're hanging. And mainstream media was blaming Donald Trump for that. Talking about the FAA and the cutbacks there, even though that plane landed in Canada, where the FAA and traffic controllers that Trump would have the possibility of terminating aren't. He has no control over that. That's Canada. Anyways, just thought I'd point that out. But yeah, weather is, for this time of the year, and I know some of you that are up further north, having this kind of cold and snow that we're about to get. I mean, now they're talking about probably 10 to 12 inches of snow, but there's about a 30% chance I was looking of it being up to 18 inches in some areas. And right here where we live is kind of the heart of where it's really going to be hammering down. So this is unusual this time of the year. There's been massive, devastating flooding in Kentucky and over in Western Virginia. The whole South is going to be experiencing some pretty cold temperatures in the next few days. So I guess, if nothing else, you can say that at least Donald Trump apparently has ended global warming. Something else, this bird flu that I've talked about quite extensively, and I don't see that too many people are talking about it. They have a company, a pharmaceutical company, has received a conditionary approval of a vaccination for H5N1 and H5N2 bird influenza for animals, for the birds themselves. So apparently they're going to start vaccinating chickens. Now, I have not found any real research on this yet, but I don't know if this is mRNA, and I do not know if there's any possibility that if you eat a bird or an egg that has this vaccine, if it can be transmitted into you. If it was a normal vaccine, probably not. But if it's mRNA, I don't know. So just thought I'd throw that out there. I mean, we're importing 15,000 tons of eggs from Turkey because we're running out of eggs here in America, apparently, because we've killed all these chickens. And then now we're going to start vaccinating chickens. So another good reason for you to be raising your own. Just thought I'd throw. We had one of our dear friends within our community. They're an older couple by themselves, and they have chickens and eggs and stuff, chickens and ducks. I think some of their chickens or ducks actually came from us. But anyways, they dropped by some extra eggs today because there's just the two of them. And they're like, we've got so many eggs. And of course, we have kids, so we go through a lot more eggs. I'm like, you guys need some eggs because we got a whole bunch. So we're quite wealthy right now. And in fact, it was funny because we were, looking at our youngest son. I think it was last night, was talking about how many eggs that we have. We've got so many eggs right now. And I was like, we're rolling in it right now. Do you realize how much money is sitting right here? Anyways, just thought I'd throw that out there. But seriously, the whole vaccinating the chicken thing might be something to pay attention to. I don't know yet. Like I said, if that's something that in consuming the chickens, if that's going to be a danger to us. But it's definitely something to think about. This morning's video, I talked about gold. Gold has been skyrocketing. It's been getting pretty close to $3,000 an ounce in comparison to the US dollar. I can't remember the specific numbers, but over the last, say, year or two, the amount of in dollar terms that the US dollar has lost value against gold. It's considerable. And there's been a gold and silver buying frenzy. It's been reported for the last few weeks of several companies are running out of selling it. Certain, maybe not everything, but they're running out of certain particular products that are big sellers. And then, of course, now Elon Musk is very seriously talking about auditing Fort Knox. In fact, he posted today that his hopes are to live stream it. So when they crack open those vaults, it's going to be live streamed for you to see. And there's this big debate right now over whether or not there actually is gold. A lot of people believe that it's not. If that were the case, I have to believe that that's going to be catastrophic if they really open those vault doors and there's nothing there. And then there's people that are, saying, well, they've been moving stuff back in there. And in the news, and this is where I want to talk about, in the news, they're saying that U.S. central banks, not Fort Knox, that's not the government, central banks are moving lots and lots of their gold that they've held in London back over here to the United States into central banks, like the New York Fed. In fact, up to 8,000 bars is what they're saying of gold. Now, is this the Fort Knox gold? Are they going to try to move it from the London bank back over here and sneak it into Fort Knox before it's audited? I don't know. But I think that this is significant. I think what we're seeing is something bigger happening than we know. And I don't exactly know what that thing is that's happening, but what has been going on for a few years. I made a video, I think 2 or 3 years ago, talking about how countries and central banks are repatriating their gold. This has been going on for about, 5-8 years now, where several countries many countries, they're bringing their gold home. So what happens is, especially your smaller countries, but obviously even the United States, there's a few places on this planet where gold is kind of stored. The United States, London, a few other places. And so let's just pick a random country, okay? Let's say Chile. Let's say Chile has X amount of gold that their nation owns. Instead of them keeping it in a bank and having to go through all the security and development of a really sound place to store it, they'll store it maybe in the London bank in their vaults and pay them a fee. Well, these countries have been bringing that gold back home because, possession is 9/10 of the law. And there's been talk for several years, really going back before Joe Biden and maybe even before Donald Trump's first term, that there's something bigger happening, that all of these central banks and all of these nations are pulling their gold back home. They want to keep it, almost like they think that something big is happening. Because think about it, if there was some kind of big event, a big world war, some type of solar flare that knocked out electricity, a pole shifting, some big event, global big event, the odds of getting your gold from some other country back home going to be pretty slim. And so these countries are bringing that back. And so U.S. central banks are doing the same thing. They are bringing their gold back. And it may not have anything to do with the whole Fort Knox thing, and it could have everything to do with that. I don't know. But I tend to believe this rush to buying gold, and it's not just individuals. I mean, yes, individuals are buying gold, but the real bulk of gold is being hoarded up by nations and central banks. I think there's something going on. I think it's been going on for a while. And there's definitely people at higher levels that seem to know something, because in the end, when it comes to wealth, you can say it can be crypto. For you and I, wealth may be, our family. It may be, our homes, our vehicles, our preps, or, IRAs, CDs, things like that. But on a big grand scale, wealth really is just two things. It's gold and it's land. Maybe some silver, maybe a few other precious things, oil. But, if there's a big collapse of the system, if there's a big grid failure or a solar flare or a pole shift, that petroleum is not going to be worth anything for a while because people probably aren't going to be using it much. But gold and land, and you see in all of these nations buying it up, trying to produce as much as they can, and bringing back the gold that's theirs. This has been going on for a while, but it seems that things are ramping up. And I tend to believe that there's something bigger going on. And so I think even with all this stuff with Donald Trump, regardless of where you fall in that spectrum of whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, or the World Economic Forum, or the far left, or the globalist, or the Illuminati, or whatever, there's something big happening. I think it's biblical. I think it falls right in line with the Bible. And I think even though we may not know specifically what that is, and you may have your own ideas, I know a lot of you think it's pole shifting type stuff, whatever it is, we need to be getting ready. I mean, if you read in Scripture, it talks about those end times. And I know some of you believe that we'll be here, and some of you believe we won't, and some of you believe we'll be here through part of it. Right now, I'm not interested in that argument. If you read in the Scriptures, it talks about some pretty crazy and horrific times that this planet goes through, that humanity goes through. Food being destroyed, humans dying, all kinds of things. And maybe that's what it's alluding to. But the gold, that's a serious thing. That's very serious that nations, the upper elite, the central banks, they're hoarding it now. They're hoarding it. This has been going on for a while. This thing just today or yesterday with the U.S. central banks, New York central banks, that's actually that's not new. This has been going on for a while. It's just another one, another big deal. And if anything, even though we may not know the specifics, it should push you to get yourself ready, to get more prepared, to get more self-sufficient, and to get your houses in order. And prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.